perfect, but every time that we come together, I do want to give you an additional little tool that might help to support you in your practice. So to begin, let's find ourselves seated as comfortably as possible. So for me, like maybe many of you, I'm a mom of 2 young kids, and I work full time, and I often find myself, if I am to close my eyes or to slow down, I drift off into sleep. So if you find yourself in a similar place where you close your eyes, you start to move towards like dream time or even drift towards sleep, then it is always a good idea to practice meditation a little bit, not a little bit uncomfortable, not quite as comfortable as like cozied up on your couch under all of your blankets. So I always practice it sitting, and usually sitting against something. So here I have like a little, you can use a rolled towel or a little ball. I'm using like a little cork roller that I'm putting right into the part of my back that is most likely to kind of round and slouch forward. So if you're sitting in a chair, maybe sliding yourself towards the edge of the chair or reaching down and kind of pulling the flesh of your seat back. And if you're sitting on the floor, you can always bring a couple of pillows underneath so that instead of sitting like tucked under with our tail tucked under, we can be sitting more up on the top of our legs. And in doing so, if you've done the yoga classes with me, it's something that we practice, this like comfortable seat. And in doing so, you might be able to find yourself where the very top of your head feels like it's right on top of the very base of your pelvis. And then once you're in that space, maybe your arms can relax. If you have a window, you can turn yourself to take a few moments, resting your eyes away from the screen and to the window, taking in whatever you see. If you don't have a window, bringing your eyes to something in your space and try for a moment to find something that's as far away as your eyes can see. The furthest tree or the furthest item in your room, so that the muscles that are behind your eyes have a chance to relax. And again, if you're somebody who struggles with falling asleep every time that you try to practice meditation, know that you can practice meditation with your eyes open. And there's a few options for doing so. You could let your gaze drop, let your eyelids drop so that it's almost like you're looking to the tops of your cheeks. Or you could find something in the space that you're in or far off in the distance and commit to allowing your eyes to rest on that thing, on that one object, at the exclusion of everything else in your vision. And then much the same way, notice everything that you can hear. Maybe the sounds outside of the room that you're in. Maybe the sound of your own breath. The sound of my voice. This buzzing of the lights and the devices. And in the same way as you can choose what your eyes and your gaze falls upon, choosing to allow your hearing to start to hone into the sound of my voice and the sound of your breath. Almost as though all of the other sounds that you hear in my space, I can hear thunder starting to rumble in the distance. I have birds outside my window, the fan in the room beside me. All of those noises get distant, like they're on one end of a tunnel and I'm on the other. Notice how it feels to be seated on whatever you're sitting on, if it's soft or if it's hard, if it's warm or cool. And the temperature on your skin, the way that your clothing feels resting on your body. And know that in the next few minutes, as we move into our meditation practice, that distractions will come up either from within you or from the spaces around you. And it's by using these anchor points, this vision spot you've set for yourself, listening inwards, sensing inwards, all of those points of internal reflection that are going to bring you back from the distraction back into your meditation practice. So in fact, try not to judge the value of your meditation practice today by the number of distractions that you have or that you don't have, but instead by the number of times that you're able to refocus. And even if every breath is spent refocusing and refocusing and refocusing, know that that in fact is the practice of meditation. So once you've reached a point where you've been able to draw your senses inwards, now really highlight or notice the breath. Your breath, most challenging, is the one that you already have. As soon as we mention the breath, there's a tendency to change the breath. And as you breathe in and out through the nose, if possible, imagine your breath like a metronome for your practice. So it's going to keep a pace for your meditation practice today. Whatever pace it's shown up as in your body, slow or fast, shallow or deep. And the meditation practice is a combination of mindfulness and concentration. And so I'll provide for you the mindfulness component, and then we'll practice the concentration, which is simply the act of becoming distracted and coming back, being distracted and coming back. So on your next in-breath, on both hands, take your thumb and touch your index fingers. They can be in your lap. I'm just holding mine up so that you can see. And you'll breathe in and breathe out and imagine like the breath is coming through the little circle that you create with your fingers. And once your breath is fully out of your body, then slide the thumb over to the middle finger. And wait for the in-breath to come in and the out-breath to move out. And then touching the ring finger just with enough touch that you can barely feel the fingers connecting, just till you first feel that connection. And then the pinkies. And then you go back the other way. So pinky, ring, thumb, middle, index, index, middle. And for the next few breaths, we'll practice with every exhale. Between the exhale and the next inhale, you'll slide your thumb. Slide your thumb. And just that very small practice, intending to keep ourselves in this mindful state. And when you get distracted or you fall towards sleep, use the next inhale to bring yourself back to touching finger, sliding across, sliding across. And I'm going to leave you in silence to practice this for the next few minutes on your own, becoming distracted and then moving back to your focal point until you hear my voice again. On your next exhalation, gently letting go of the fingers, sliding across the fingers and allowing a few breaths in the exact place you're in and out through the nose. Become aware of what's supporting you, the seat beneath you, support behind you, the clothing and the way it feels on your skin, the temperature. Become aware of not just the sounds of your own breath, but start to open your ears back up to the space around you. The sound of my voice, the sound from the outside of the room you're in, the sound from within the room you're in. And then blinking to focus or opening the eyes to take in the space around you. Maybe if you're craving a little movement, moving your body. The sun has come out where I am. My eyes are closed and it was thunder and now it's sunny. So taking a little bit of this practice with you to the week ahead, know that you can always find these little practices throughout the day. That some mindfulness practice is better than none at all. It doesn't have to be, an hour. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes. It can be a breath or two. And I want to thank you all for joining me in this practice today and welcome you back again this time next week.